We're going to go over case types, creating case types, and what a case type is. Case type is basically a way to define your case into a cohesive set of steps that your team can follow along as the case progresses and check off. So to start, go to your dashboard and click on Manage Cases. You're brought to this page, and you're going to define a case type that represents your case type. So here we'll do a bankruptcy case type. We'll create it. You'll see that it shows on the left. You'll be able to edit the title and delete it. If you make a mistake, we no longer need to use this particular case type. From here, once we select a case type, we can click on Create Step. And we're just going to define the steps that generally outline how this case progresses. You can add or remove steps once you create a case of a particular case type. So this just kind of becomes a general outline. You can add additional forms here, instructions here. In this particular instance, we're saying get client intake forms. Maybe you define what forms you want them to take in, or pay special attention to fields that need to be filled out. So I'll create a first step. You can also break this up. Let's say we don't want to specify a particular form here. But we want to define some additional steps inside of here of the different forms that we want them to fill out. Oops. It's on the wrong one. So now we have a main step with some sub-steps, and then an additional step here. On these G28, or let's say that these are two different forms that we want them to fill out, we can also go ahead and attach the files to this. Some test files here. Well, we'll pretend that this is a PDF file that they would fill out. So we can attach files that they may need to fill out here for this particular form. And then once they fill that out, they'll be able to check off that step as completed. So that's the basics of creating a case type. I'll quickly go through what some of these icons are here on each of the steps, though we'll do a more detailed look at that with a steps tutorial. The first one is just to move steps around, so I can just drag these steps and reorder them here. The next one is an important one, and that's assigning people to this particular step. So if we know ahead of time that this is something for a particular user or the attorney that's going to be assigned to the case, we can go ahead and define that here and say it's the attorney assigned to a case. Or perhaps we know that a specific user in our company always performs this task, so we can search for that user and select them as a person that is required to complete that task. If we know that this form needs to be filled out by the client, we can go to the Clients tab and select the client assigned to the case. And we'll say that this step is the attorney assigned to the case. So what will happen in this instance is when someone checks off G28 step as being completed, this step will signal that it's ready to take place, and the person that's assigned to this step will be notified that they need to complete this step in order for the case to proceed. The pencil is just to simply edit the title of the step. The next one is a little alarm bell, and those are essentially ticklers. You can place reminders on steps if it's due some specific date in the future. So if we know that the G28 form is going to be due at some specific time, we could say, please remember to fill out your G28 form. We can put additional details there. We can say when it's due. We can say that it's relative. So we'll say that it's 0, or we could say that it's 30 minutes. It's due 30 minutes from the previous step being complete. That's kind of unrealistic. So we might say that this step is due 7 days when the previous step is complete. So in this particular case, we don't really have a previous step here. So it doesn't really hold true as the first step. So what we might want to say is 7 days from now. So when a case is created of this particular case type, the now will be that particular date. And so then 7 days from then, there will be a notification that goes off that will say that this is now due. We can also add more reminders. So if this is due in 7 days, we might want to add a reminder that says 3 days before the due date. Oh, sorry, that's 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes before the due date. Remind them. We can add another one and say, let's do 3 days before the due date, and it'll send a reminder. We can also add past due reminders. So 1 day. So 1 day after it is past, or after it's due, we'll do a past due reminder just to remind them that they still need to complete that. You can actually change this to a specific date. This is usually best done after a case has already been created and you're adding new steps. We can add that reminder, and you'll see that all of your reminders are over here on the left. We can add additional reminders if we want, and we can create as many reminders as we want on a particular step. The next button I showed you a little earlier is the Attach Files button. So you can click that and attach files to this step, and those files will be copied over to your case when you create a case of this particular case type. You can also attach emails to a particular step. And your email you can edit and add your company name. This will have your company name and your company logo here. And you can go through and modify this email a little bit to your liking. Make it very simple. Say send it to the client and save it. And so here's your email that's attached here. And once you create the case, then you can just simply click the send button and it'll send that email out to the client. So just one way to increase efficiency of your firm. This button we looked at earlier will add a child step to this step, and the delete button will delete the step. Okay, so that's it. So some other ways that case types are really helpful is once you have a case type defined, you'll be able to use them for things like forms and saying like, I want to attach this form to case types of bankruptcy. We also find case types useful in other places where it defines where cases are actually, where a particular case type is useful. So let's go ahead and create a case of our new case type. And from here we'll select our case type and we'll click create. And you can see that everything that we created has been brought in for us and our case is ready to go. So that's case types in a nutshell. And oh, there's one of our reminders that just went off that we created now that this case has been created. So very handy. Once you've created a case with specific case types, you can then check off steps as they're completed. Check this step off. One of the things the system will do is when you check a step off, it'll go and find the next step that's in the same level and find out if anybody's assigned to that step. Which in this case there is. A client, Bob Riley, is assigned to this step. It'll see if they have an email address, and it'll email them a notification and let them know that a previous step has been completed and that this step is now available to be completed or that it is due. In addition, if I had a reminder set on this step and this step was completed and this reminder had a condition of some time when the previous step is complete, that timer will then start and begin to send notifications based on the notifications you set in setting up that timer.